Good evening and welcome to We Believe Digital Studios in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. So glad you're joining us tonight. 63 degrees here in Jackson, down from our high today, believe it or not, 68 degrees. No rain in sight for the next few days, but so glad you're joining us. We've got several nice topics tonight. Again, my name is Chris Young, and alongside, as always, Maati, Jone, Primm. Good evening, Miss Primm.
Good evening, Mr. Chris.
We had a chance to visit earlier in her amazing bookstore today, and I've just been so busy. She came in totally bright and breast cancer awareness month colors and everything. And she said, "Did you notice?" She wasn't looking like this when I saw her at 11 o'clock this morning.
I was in green. Yeah.
Well, women, I think they have that special ability too. It's like, it wasn't it Superman that went in the
the phone booth.
The phone booth and twirled around.
Yeah.
I think
we twirl.
Ain't no more Superman left anymore.
Right.
But women do that.
Yeah, women twirl.
And sometimes it's bad because you feel like you know somebody, but then they'll show up with a whole different look, and you're like, well, wait a minute,
Right.
like I know you, but right now I'm not sure if I know you.
Right, absolutely.
Transformational powers.
We have to do it.
And black girl magic, all rolled into one.
All rolled into one.
Well, Sizzling, Mississippi, we got maybe 4 or 5 different items to go over tonight to share with you, and the first really. As if we don't have enough sadness going on in the world right now. A shooting at Jackson State over the weekend, the homecoming weekend. Just really, really sad. Apparently happened at one of the apartment complex, like equivalent to a dorm. Jalen Burns. The reports say he was a very popular, involved student. Maati.
Right. Yeah. A fraternity member.
Yeah. And industrial technology, what he was saying, he was from Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And passed away afterwards, was taken to the hospital, but passed away later. They say, they do have a person of interest, but nobody in custody just yet. And that reminds me too. Did you see that story? What was that? Maybe 5 or 6 days ago, about the murders in Jackson that had not been released to WLBT. 20-some murders this year. So everybody looking at on WLBT, they got this homicide tracker where you can go on there and you can compare any years you want. He'd been doing it, C.J. LeMaster.
Yes.
He's been doing it for a number of years now. But I just go on there and click everything off except last year and this year. So you can put with your pointer, you can pinpoint a day last year and see exactly where we are at on that day this year. And a lot of people do that. I'm sure everybody sitting fat, dumb, and happy, like the homicide rate has been dropping.
Right.
And maybe people have in their mind that we got this Capitol Police Department all expanded and they're everywhere all the time and all these extra resources.
Right. That's not the case.
20-some homicides were not reported to WLBT, meaning also they're not reported to the public.
Right.
From Jackson Police Department. Have to say it the way it is. And so when I heard about it, I looked back for, I believe it was October 6th, and we're 12 ahead this year of where we were last year.
Oh, that's awful.
So instead of thinking that more resources were coming to bear, lots of vacancies being filled in JPD.
Yes.
And you got this whole Capitol Police thing, which, a lot of people have mixed feelings about. Some people are joyous about. I'm not, just because of the, the whole takeover aspect of it.
Right.
I just see it as a massive Trojan horse.
Absolutely.
And so, but all these added resources, but yet still, These murders are clicking away all the time.
Right.
If we stay on this pace, I mean, here we are mid-October. If we stay on this pace, we'll eclipse last year. And last year, it was the second year in a row, right?
Yes. Yeah.
For the most homicides per capita,
right?
In America.
In America, Jackson.
Now the reason why we're sizzling, here in Mississippi, and isn't it interesting? Nobody wants to look at the root causes.
Never.
So how are you going to get?
Right.
You're not going to get the change.
No.
Because you're not looking at
right.
it. You're
It's
just
not
trying
policing.
to throw.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not policing.
Yeah.
They keep looking at punishment. Oh, we'll catch someone and we'll punish them. But how many of the offenders do we actually catch anyway? Right? So many go free that they feel like they can get away with murder, so they commit murders. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. The other thing is looking at, like you said, root causes. Mm-hmm. Until we do that, we won't come up with a viable solution. Mm-hmm. Obviously, more policemen isn't the answer.
And driving around in 2s and 3s, you just never see a Capitol Police vehicle.
Yeah.
And I don't see them out of the vehicles a lot, which is what
yeah.
when you emphasized the word policing before, and my mind goes to, community policing, and it's about getting to know the people that you're serving.
Right.
It's getting out of the vehicle, gripping and grinning, saying hello, letting them know how to get in touch with you, this and that, bonding with the community that they're sworn to protect and serve.
Right.
But if you don't really know the people,
right,
if you're not part of that community, then you're just an oppressor.
Exactly. And they're like this occupying force for those neighborhoods who have Capitol Police presence. Mm-hmm. My neighborhood, we don't have any police presence.
But when they get the more, and they're going to fill all those positions, they will, because they're paying that big dollar.
Right.
And so right now, the way the law is, despite the challenges, they have concurrent jurisdiction where you live.
Right.
They just don't have the resaurces supposedly to be out there right now.
Yeah. Well,
but then again, they're riding 3 at a time, one behind the other, behind the other.
Through safer neighborhoods. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, the murder rate is higher than last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just bizarre on that, and we got another few. Well, we kind of got it off a little late, so maybe we'll shoot for about 6:55 to take that first break. But yeah, and it was a statement too by that I copied off from. You think that people like to hear about what the president said, JSU?
Yes.
Okay. They do say that this additional security is on site and students are urged to carry their badges with them at all times. And then Dr. Elaine Anthony, the acting JSU president, she said this: JSU mourns the loss of Jalen Burns. With a heavy heart, I share the passing of Jalen Burns, an industrial technology major from Chicago, was transported to the hospital after reports of shots fired at University Point apartment complex. JPD and Capitol Police are investigating and hoping to find a person of interest. Out of an abundance of caution, additional security is on site to ensure the safety of our campus community. Urge everyone to wear your badges. Classes are suspended today, Monday the 16th, assuming they'll resume back tomorrow. Our thoughts and prayers are with Jalen's family, friends, and all those who knew him. He was an ambitious, bright young man who believed in being of service as a member of Alpha Phi Alpha and president of the C100 chapter at JSU, an affiliate of 100 Black Men of America. She said, "We grieve the tragic loss of life due to this senseless act of violence. The safety of our students and campus community remains our priority." She encourages any member of our faculty, staff, or student in need of grief support to come to the Latasha Norman Center for Counseling Services. The phone number is provided, 601-979-0374, or you can email LatashaNormanCenter at jsums.edu. Also, in the event that faculty or staff have any needs, there's a employee assistance program she's reminding people about. And lastly, she says the holistic well-being of our students, first and foremost, and the safety of our campus community is our collective responsibility. Please remember, if you see something, say something. You may contact the JSU Department of Public Safety at 601-979-2580. And Dr. Anthony says, together we will remain JSU strong. So tough weekend to lose a student like that, lose the homecoming weekend, all the extra people in town and everything.
Yeah.
Ended up getting beat by Alabama State. Didn't see that coming. God, I wish I could have been there. I was out of town over the weekend. But
yeah, I'm sure that Jalen Burns' family thought, oh, he's leaving Chicago, going to Jackson. He's going to be in a much safer, more protected area.
Right.
And then for him to be murdered, a homicide victim.
Don't they have that in there part of south side of Chicago they call Little Mississippi?
Well, all of Chicago is really considered Little Mississippi.
Okay.
Really, because everybody is either from there or their parents are from their Great Migration. Yeah, brought that along. But somehow, he wasn't safer. And
Not safer.
Not safer. A young man with a great future in front of him. We had so many people visiting from out of state. Anytime Jackson State's homecoming, it's a time of great celebration. And I had someone say to me before all of this happened, I hope you don't have a problem with homicides or shootings or like that because of your homecoming. And I was like, oh, please, let's not do that.
Let's not give that any energy.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's happened, and such a tragedy.
Sizzling in Mississippi.
Once again.
We don't know, we don't know what the reasons were. We don't know what the rationale was. We don't know if it had any connection whatsoever to homecoming, but none. We just sharing what we do know about it.
I think they'll find the person, like you said, they do have a person of interest, but I think that this will be something that'll be solved quickly. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay. And Maati, maybe we better hold up till the next segment on the school closings.
Okay.
What about this third item here? We've got about six minutes or so before the break. What do you think? I did remember, by the way, afterwards.
Yeah.
We talked earlier. We have this topic that we put on the board for tonight: nudity in Jackson. What up with that? So we have seen, and you asked me this morning, could I remember one? And I couldn't at the time, but later on I did remember. And the lady was down not too far from Fair Street, around over there in that area, that cut through that I use leaving Fair Street.
Okay.
Over near Smith Robertson.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And so what brought this on is you've been seeing more and more, people that are either nude or just about nude, and also with some of the clothing, it's just you might as well be.
Yeah.
And so
leaves nothing to the imagination.
And so you wanted to ask about that. I wonder if
the public nudity. Yeah.
Our viewers. I wonder if that's something that's, I wish I had the laptop to see comments if people want to share about that.
Right.
But sometimes and maybe this is a bias. I don't know. But sometimes I chalk it up to things like poverty, drug addiction, homelessness,
mental illness,
and I don't know that maybe that's fair. Maybe somebody's legitimately, deliberately trying to make a statement. I don't know. Don't start laughing again.
It's okay.
What is it about this that's got your attention, Miss Primm?
It's irritating for one thing. Yeah, and I keep wondering where the police are because you can't get away with this. And I went down McDowell Road one day on a Saturday morning, and I saw this woman walking down the street, and I was like, no, that can't be it. She must be wearing a brown bodysuit, you know. And when I passed her, she flashed me. She was wearing a robe, an open robe, and she was just flashing as she went, walking down the street. I've seen homeless people changing clothes or sleeping in the nude and then waking up deciding to clothe themselves. Yeah. Feeling very comfortable in doing that. I've seen homeless women who, I don't know, maybe that are half nude, being that their clothes kind of roll up around their waist. I've seen people walking around, people publicly drinking alcohol and bottomless. I saw one woman walking on a cold day in Jackson with a winter coat on that stopped at her waist. And
hello. Surprise, surprise. What you gonna do? And then as people, relieving themselves, sometimes you see that going on.
Oh, I've seen the worst on that. Yeah. Wiping themselves with leaves that they find on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's, Jackson is just really
quite a place. We're sizzling. We're definitely sizzling here. Well, look, we're just about ready to, if we can stop laughing on this one story, which is rare that we have a laugh on this show, really,
right, it is.
With all these topics. So, we'll dip out for a couple of commercials and then get back with you. And again, please join us in the chat if you can. I don't have the laptop tonight to be able to see comments, but I bet you our producer would let us know if something comes in. Of course, we also have a call-in number, 1-800-492-5186. So we'll drop out now for just a couple of commercials, and then we'll be right back with you.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
Hey, have you heard about the accountable card? It's more than a card. It's a complete mobile banking service that's accountable to all of us. You'll get a no credit check debit card good anywhere Visa is accepted to make purchases, deposits, even get or transfer cash with an FDIC insured bank account managed from our smartphone app. There's even a pre-approved no interest line of credit if you need emergency cash. So why go to the bank when you can have ours in your pocket? Get accountable. Just download our app today.
And welcome back to Sizzling in Mississippi. We're glad you're joining us. Don't forget too, when you see the programming, like the programming, click the subscribe button. Especially watch us on YouTube if you can. And don't forget, when you're going down the road or sitting at home and you want to listen to some really, really good radio, We Believe Digital now has a radio station. So the way you access that is to go to the WeBelieveDigital.com website. and scroll down to We Believe Radio, and it's a combination of soul and R&B and gospel, and now we're starting to put together some programming to go on the radio, but it's 24 hours a day. It's all formatted up for you, going all the time. So wherever you've got your device, you can, whether, yesterday I was coming up from New Orleans and listened for a good hour and 15 minutes or so. It was great. Just my phone's just sitting there in a little caddy, but the radio, the car radio is turned off,
Yeah.
and it just but it's Bluetooth, just coming through the speakers, enjoying it just like it was a regular radio station.
Wonderful.
Cool stuff.
Yes, indeed.
You know what's not cool stuff though, Maati, is these school closings. Yes. It's just not too distant past. As I recall, 2016, 2017, the state was just about trying to take over the school system.
Right.
And now, Superintendent Dr. Eric Green reveals the district, here we go now, optimization plan that includes closing and consolidating several schools, 16 schools on the list.
Wow.
He says that there's a decline. There's a reason for this, and the reason is that there's a decline in student enrollment, particularly at the elementary school level. We have heard people say recently, too, the overall population of Jackson is declining more now than it had kind of leveled off a couple years back.
Right.
Seems to be dipping down again.
Yeah.
Which would translate to that quite a lot, it would seem like. And to stabilize staffing.
Wow.
So we've got the list. The list is this: Chastain Middle School, Key Elementary School, Raines Elementary, Wingfield High School, Clausel Elementary School, Obama Elementary School. Boy, that one. Shirley Elementary School, Dawson Elementary, Lake Elementary, Sykes Elementary, G.N. Smith Elementary, Lester Elementary, Wells APAC Elementary. So there's the list of 16 schools.
Yeah, I mean, and Obama Elementary just opened a few years ago.
Right. And
it's been a very successful program.
Yeah, I was looking at their scores not too long ago. They do really well over there.
Yes, they do.
Equal to or better than anybody else in the district.
Right. So why would you close that school?
And maybe that will end up being a consolidation. Maybe that one won't be a closure. Let's hope.
Yes, let's hope.
But, they had on October 10th, they had a community forum to get talking about this, to hear what the people have to say. Ultimately, they want to put a plan together, announce a plan, kind of like a final plan, if you will, by December 5th. So they had their first community forum October 10th. The next one is scheduled for November 30th, which is, a week before December 5th. So, I don't know if they really want to hear from people or not.
Well, see, that's a holiday time.
Less people are going to turn out anyway.
Right. They're going to be with their families, and so I think that's what they're hoping for. But, in doing this, they're calling it an optimization. So I want to know, other than the physical buildings being closed and consolidating, what are you going to do about the school programs, the curriculum?
Right.
And when do we stand up to the banning of certain books and the banning of certain subjects?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about.
I was sharing with people last week on the news break show, Maati, the school board in Georgia that flagged a children's book. The author's last name is Gay, and they flagged the book. Now, ultimately, they didn't take it off the shelf, but it got flagged as being sexually explicit because of the word gay.
Wow.
And I looked up on I looked up on the web. I found a list of about 110
Yes.
quite notable people with the
Sure.
last name of Gay.
Okay.
So it just there's an element in this country that and they all look like me. Every last one. I'm convinced.
Okay.
Every last one of them looks like me.
Yeah.
And they think this country is theirs. And they want to start calling all hardball, calling all the shots.
Yes, yes.
And stop this progressiveness.
Wow.
That helps us to grow.
Right, right.
In a lot of different ways, but yeah.
I just really wonder, and I sort of shiver to consider what this is actually going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They did something like this in Chicago, and it was a horrible
Was it?
thing. Oh, just terrible.
Yeah. So more to follow. I think I'll try to plan to be at that November. And who knows? If enough people bring up valid points or complaints or process issues, who knows?
Right.
Maybe that December 5th can get kicked down the road.
Yeah.
And look at things. I like your point right off the bat that all of you told us about the physical buildings. You haven't told us about what you plan to, the nuts and bolts of this optimization. Right. It's got to be more than just that.
Right, right.
So,
please optimize the education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the curriculum. Come on, let's do something, because Mississippi is always in last place or close to last place when it comes to education. So I'm wondering, are you going to address that issue? And you should.
Mm-hmm.
We went from an F to a D minus in celebrating. I was trying to figure out what's the difference.
Right, right. Okay, well, a sad anniversary to mark. The 1-year anniversary of the disappearance, obviously murder, obviously torture, dismemberment of a black man in a predominantly white county, Rasheem Carter, in Taylorsville, Smith County,
74% white.
Yeah, so we'll call it 75.
Okay.
And 24% black.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are a year later. And we rode over there and took a look around, just trying to get a sense of things. I wrote an article for the Mississippi Link about it after talking to some people there in kind of hush-hush tones, because they kept checking, looking, see if anybody's watching them talk to this guy from out of town. But anyway, so they had a big a rally over the weekend over there.
All right.
Several civil rights organizations, human rights organizations were on hand. Lots of comments. WLBT covered it, and they have lots of comments in their article about what the mother have to say.
Yeah.
His mother about, and ultimately the burden she must have, because she's the one that told him to go to the police when he was being harassed by these white people.
Right.
In a racist kind of way, chasing him around town in pickup trucks and shouting at him at the stop sign, and that kind of thing. And his poor mother told him, go to the police, go to the police station, and that's just what he did, not once, but twice.
Right.
And he got nothing out of that.
Right. And in 2 different days, too.
2 different days.
Right. The second time it was very early in the morning. And he said, well, will you at least charge my phone because I'm running out of power? No.
Can't do that.
Can't do that either. And here it is. This young man was murdered. His penis was severed from his body and then stuffed into his mouth cavity, and his head was cut off.
No accountability. Here we are a year later, no accountability whatsoever.
Still nothing. The sheriff that was then is the sheriff who is now. No one has been fired. There hasn't been any real movement on this case. And it is horrific. And when I tell people about it, they're so shocked. but especially if I talk to people who don't live in Mississippi, they just cannot believe that something like that occurred. They say, well, it sounds like Emmett Till.
Yeah.
You know, even though Emmett Till wasn't dismembered, but he was tortured beyond belief. You know.
And I'm wondering too, thinking of the viewers that might be seeing this programming, you know, and what community that you live in, and or if you're a parent and if your child was in a circumstance where they feel like their life was being threatened, or people were trying to track them down and beat them up or something like that, what would you tell them to do? What reception would they find at your local police station?
Yeah.
You know, what reception would that young man have found if he walked in the door to JPD?
Yeah.
I think it'd have been a whole different story.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I've talked to different groups giving presentations regarding Rasheen Carter's murder. Mm-hmm. And I said to parents, if you're a parent, you need to save $500 for each child that you have. Emergency money. Mm-hmm. So that if you have a child who decides to go out of your jurisdiction and you're familiar with your jurisdiction, familiarize yourself with where your child's going. Mm-hmm. Look and see what the racial makeup is and what the racial climate is there. If there's no mention on what the racial climate is, it's probably terrible.
Right.
But also set up an account so that you can call a transport service to pick up your child right away. Don't
snatch
wait on somebody. Snatch him out of there. Get him to Laurel or get him back home, and make sure that he's safe. If you're going to go back to Laurel, you're not going to even go back to the hotel where you were staying. You're going to go to a different hotel, and you're going to check in there until we come and get you.
And this was at the. I mean, I think that's super that you shared that with them, and I think a lot of people are eager for information like that.
Right.
And because we got to get a reset, because today is not the same. It's just not the same. It's a different variety, technology involved.
Right.
But you still got these people that are just so full of hate and they feel like they're above the law. They take the law into their own hands.
Right.
But and that's the very southern part of Smith County.
Yes.
I think McGee is maybe about 20 or 30 miles away.
Okay.
Places like McGee and Collins. So you're getting down Mendenhall. So you're getting down. So I wonder what the reception would have been there. I would like to think it'd been better.
I don't know. Smith County is really a hard county.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those like Neshoba County, where you had Philadelphia, Mississippi, with the murder of the 3 civil rights workers, Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner. And so Smith has always been a very hard county. You also have the murder of the young man Quinn, and nothing found out about that. That was 30 years ago. Found hanging in a jail cell. So it's just horrible. Smith, Simpson, Neshoba County, Rankin County, these kind of atrocities occur, and most of the time we don't even hear about them. These are just some where the parents had great courage and daring to speak up and say, I'm not going to let this go silently.
And I just had to go to the website, because I read the WLBT article, very informative, but I just had to go to the Smith County website and poke around.
Yes.
Well, all their elected officials, they have their
pictures.
All the pictures and everything.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they got 2 constables over there, both male, both white. They got a board of supervisors in Smith County, 5 people on the board of supervisors, all male, 1 black out of 5. Chancery clerk is a white female. She got 3 staff. 1 of the 3 female staff members she has is black. Circuit clerk, white male. The coroner is a white male. The sheriff himself, a white male. His name is Charlie Crumpton, His phone number is 601-782-4531 if you want to give him a call and ask if he's got anything new to report on the Rasheem Carter case. Charlie Crumpton, phone number 601-782-4531. He has a white male undersheriff and a white female support staff in the office.
Yeah.
And then they got a tax collector assessor all built into one.
Okay.
White female. She got a staff of 5, and 4 of those are white females. So I counted 22 people total that are elected officials that they list there in Smith County, or affiliated with the elected officials, I should say. 22 people total. And 13 of them were black. In the state of Mississippi, that has more African Americans per capita than anywhere else in the country.
I think that's 3, isn't it?
Three black people comes out to 13%
okay.
of the
24% population.
Well, 13% of the people that they listed on their website.
Yeah.
And yet the black population overall is 24%. So right off the bat, they're way off on that.
Yeah, they're not representational. And they don't care. And I also wonder, I'm going to imagine that the 3 black people that work in this municipality are probably from this municipality and know the limits.
Know how far they can go.
Yeah.
And it's just, another thing that I don't think I ever want to forget about this case is at the beginning, remember how they try to blame it on animals?
Yes.
Yeah, different body parts of this young man was 26, 27. I know he had a 7-year-old daughter.
Right.
But body parts in different locations, but not gnarled body parts in different locations.
Right.
Cut. Precision cuts.
Yes.
And that's how they got the Department of Justice to take a look at it. So we'll see, it's been a year. We haven't heard anything yet, but who knows? We could hear any day from the Department of Justice on this.
Yeah, well, I really would like to hear something from them, and soon.
Yeah.
I know that they do take a long time in their investigations because they're very thorough.
Yeah.
However, I don't want the time to get away. When I think about Emmett Till and the decades of that, and it goes cold, and then we have to sit up here and try again to get some type of action and some type of response, and we're just not getting it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very sad. So again, we'll take a short break, and we come back for one story that Maati has for us tonight. Especially, it's very fitting for her with National Book Month, with her being the owner of what you now believe is the oldest African American owned bookstore in the country, right?
It is, yeah, and on the continent.
On the continent.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So very fitting story coming up on that, and so we'll be back with you shortly for this last segment.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippilink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Welcome back to We Believe Digital Studios and its Sizzling in Mississippi program for our final segment. And I really wanted to mention once again that, we set a goal for subscribers for this month, and this not just for this particular show, but for the whole platform. And the goal was 1,000. And we are already, here we are at the 16th of the month. We were at, I think, what was it, just crossing over 700, Chelsea? And boom, I mean, just in these last couple of weeks, it's really taken off. Very, very close to 900 right now. Of course, the goal is still 1,000, but we'll see what we do then when we hit the goal. That will really help us out a lot. As also, it can really help us out a lot if you view the programming, the We Believe programming via YouTube, because there's an opportunity then to get monetized for that, which would help the owner here defray some of the expenses, because right now it's 100% out of pocket. So that would help us a lot. So Maati, here we are for the final segment and this beautiful reminder, National Book Month.
Yes, National Book Month. So it's a time where we think about books and we read books and we appreciate the fact that we have books. We also appreciate the fact that there's a lot of banning of books. Even Angie Thomas, Jackson's own, and Angie Thomas, The Hate That You Give, her book has been banned in certain places. So we have to look at that. And so there's 6 things that we can do during the month of October to celebrate and recognize National Book Month. And so one of the things we can do is we can read a new book, a title we haven't read before. We can also reread a favorite book and enjoy that. That's something that I do too. I'll read a book and I'll come back maybe a year or two later and reread it. And just enjoy the fact that I enjoyed it so much the first time. And it can become a favorite book. Also, we can go to our local bookstores and support them because it's important that we have local bookstores. It is a place where you can go and you can buy a book without censorship and without wondering if someone's watching you read the book or buy the book. It's rather anonymous, and it gives you a sense of freedom to purchase books from independent bookstores. Another thing that you can do is pay a visit to the public library and see what they have, what's available to read. And, give them a visit. It helps. It helps to have a lot of visitors to come to a library, a public library. It makes it a place that becomes essential because libraries are essential to our learning.
And so much more going on there than people would think of just, going to find a book, very entrenched in the community.
Absolutely, yeah. And we should make sure that we are utilizing that resource. Also, you can write a book. That's one thing. And if not writing a book, you can write a journal. Start journaling your life. And, something that you can save for generations to come. People can sort of understand what was Jackson, Mississippi like, what was the world like in 2023. And generations going forward will read it. We find journals from the Civil War and have archived that in the National Archives and find it valuable to really understand history in its full spectrum. We have to read the diaries and the journals and letters that were written at that time. Yeah, it's a great addition to history.
I saw you mentioning that, what is it, Antique Roadshow?
Yes.
And they had this person that brought in these, it looked like really rough binders of material, but it was actually a book that had been written at a critical time in the Civil War, and really not my thing. But the price that they said it would be worth blew me out of my socks.
Oh, really?
Just crazy, because it was all, despite the outside look, the inside was very in order and very legible, and the appraiser said it would some astronaut multi thousands.
Wow.
For that book that had been sitting in the closet all these years or whatever.
Yeah, and an addict, anything like that. Yeah, absolutely. Very important to understand what is history. It fleshes it out, to a very human and individual level.
I just want to add in, just in case there's somebody watching that can maybe identify too, because I used to be really scared of reading it. I had to get a lot of help to get through different grade levels with reading, and specifically reading comprehension.
Yes.
So I don't know what it was about just growing up, and with that, always that fear in the back of my mind, studying for tests and everything. You're supposed to read. But later on in life, that just kind of changed, and now I look forward to those pockets of time when there's just space on the calendar and nothing really going on, or really don't want anything going on.
Sure.
Just kick back. And my problem is I've got about 25 books on my coffee table that I haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
But I keep bringing them in when I see things of interest. I just haven't gotten the time recently.
Yeah. Well, I also encourage people that if you're interested in a book, it's best to buy it while it's still in print, because you'll come back and it might be a year or two later. And the price of that book now,
difference.
Yeah.
Same thing with a lot of the music things too.
Oh yes, yeah.
I was looking at a Barry White greatest hits, I guess it was, or something like that. And there's several different editions of it done by different record companies.
Right.
But the one I was interested in was something like $71 or something for a CD.
Yeah.
For a CD.
I know. But you know what? Those, in years to come, it might be 5 or 10 years from now, to be $300. Yeah. So I collect old ebony magazines.
Okay.
And so I started about 12 years ago. So I could buy lots of ebonies, where it might be 10 or 12 copies for $30, $40, $50. Now it's $300.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. National Book Month.
Yeah.
Going on for a long time now, and since 1950, highlighted, the National Book Foundation highlights these different genres.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. And once again, a shameless plug for my co-host. But I typically, I'm in her store once a week, dropping off newspapers. But I try not to just do that and then run right out. I try and be able to spend a few minutes, because just gazing at 1 square foot of the wall inside her bookstore down on Fair Street is like a history lesson. It's a really unique, enthralling environment down there, where it's just it's warm and it's just dripping in history.
Yeah.
So. Good stuff. If you haven't been down to Marshall's Books down on Fair Street, it's worth a special trip.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you especially to our new producer Chelsea. So glad you're here and helping us get this show out to the people. And we look forward to seeing you again back next Monday evening at 6:30 for another episode of Sizzling in Mississippi. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you then.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.